What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel for a quick how-to video of how I am personally going to go about, at least I think so, aligning my Square Golf launch monitor going forward. I will preface this by saying that this is the first time I've done it. Usually in the past, what I have to do is you slide the alignment stick out. I try to eyeball it the best that I can right in the middle of the mat. I align it to there, and then I go into GS Pro after and adjust my offset, trying to eyeball standing behind it exactly where the middle line should be. But I think I came across something. Major shout out to Spike's Blue Collar Sim Golf. He was the one that originally put me onto this, but I think I came across something here, which I think is going to make things a lot easier. So this is actually a laser level. I got it on Amazon. I'll link it down below in the pinned comment for the exact one that I got. Basically, I went with this one. This was the cheapest rechargeable one. I'm not quite sure if I want to leave it on the entire time when I'm using it. Possibly there's a tripod mount, possibly move it up so it could give me a dead straight putting line. Maybe I'll mess with that in the future. But basically, I got the cheapest one on Amazon that had a rechargeable battery. So one, you're not burning through AA or AAA batteries. And two, if you wanted to, you could plug it in and use it, keep it on while the thing is charging. But basically, if I turn this thing on, maybe this would be kind of cool if I shoot it at the camera. Basically, as you can see, it's a, I don't know if this thing is hitting the camera, if it's getting all wacky, but basically, it's a level, both horizontal and vertical, laser level. So what I'm going to do is go through, I tried this one time just to put it out here and see how it looked, but I haven't tried aligning it. I think this is going to be a pretty easy tool and a pretty worthwhile tool for about, I paid, I think it was like 12 bucks on Amazon. Again, I'll link the exact one that I got if you guys want this similar one. But let's go through and see how long this takes to align the square. And like I said, usually what I would have to do is I would get down on the ground, crawl around over here, trying to figure out the middle point of my mat. I would put this down, say like, all right, is that straight? Is that good? Kind of an imprecise type of deal here, to where you're kind of eyeballing stuff and hoping that it's good. But I've seen people that have had issues with aligning it. Some people, they don't even bother doing it. Personally, I do it about once every 2 weeks. I come out here and the square is in the exact same spot every time. So usually if I don't nudge it or kick it or anything bounces into it, usually it stays right where it is with the heavy shank tank that I have. So I don't really find the need until I get to the point where I actually nudged it the other day. So I've been meaning to do this. But if I start hitting putts, maybe it felt like, that was a slight push and it showed a straight or a slight pull, that type of thing. But let's see what this laser level, if it's worth the money. First thing I always want to do is I go over here into the driving range first and foremost. So you just load up the driving range, and the first thing that I like to do, I moved my video up so you should be able to see. You can see basically the bottom part of it. The little square where it registers the ball on the bottom left over here. What I like doing is having the unit to the point where this thing, right where I hit from, is usually right about here. I like having that pretty darn close to the center point of that box. So technically right there, right about there is dead center. But I mean, close enough. Usually I like being, maybe I can nudge it back just a little bit. For me, that's close enough, right towards the middle. I could go right there. But we're going to go with that. But basically, you want to make sure when you're doing this, if you're going to spend the time to alignment, it's not the quickest thing in the world. You do want to make sure that your ball's in a good spot, to where if you go in where your usual hitting area is from, if you have the ball like this, where it's way out of alignment, and you go through this whole thing and then you say, man, I wish I would have put it in the middle in the first place and then gone from there. So highly recommend going to the range first, figuring out where you want to hit from, where your middle point will be, and having it, again, mine's not perfect, but it's pretty close to the middle. Right about there, that's pretty close, and even a little bit back this way. But you get the idea. That's pretty close to where I hit from. I usually hit right in between this white center line and towards the front, so that's in a pretty good spot. From here now, I think what will be easier using this level is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this down over here behind the mat, and I'm going to turn this thing on and have it shoot right down the middle of my mat, or what seems to be the middle. Maybe I'll turn my pin spot light off. And it actually needs to be up just a little bit. So I'm going to put it on. I have a box over here from balls. I'm going to put it up on the balls because it's hitting the mat and I can't quite see the line. So right about there. Now it's up a little bit more. That is, again, it has like a level or a kind of like a swinging mount in it to where it finds the level point. There's a ball level or a bubble level on the top to show you if you are in fact level. But right about there looks pretty good. I guess if we're going to do this, we might as well go dead center of the mat, and I think I'm going to shoot it right down that line. So if I go and stand over here, that's pretty darn close. It could go, I guess, a little bit more that way. That's pretty darn close to the center of the mat. And I could go just a little bit more this way. But as you can see, it's giving me already a more precise line that I can follow straight down the middle of my mat and right in front of the unit. So again, I'm trying this for the first time. I kind of thought through this of how I wanted to do it, but to me that looks pretty good. It's catching the mat. It could go up the level, just up a little bit more, so it was hitting, it's getting cut off a little bit by the front of the mat. But to me, that looks pretty good, and I'm following it straight down here, and that I can already tell looks usually pretty close to where my offset is with GS Pro. Maybe just a touch. We'll go this way. And again, this is something you can do multiple times, but all right, I'm pretty happy with that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put, we're still on the range here. This doesn't matter. I can go back to the main menu. And I wanted to show this too. Some people said they've had tougher times getting the unit to pick up the alignment stick. And I kind of have a trick, which not much of a trick, but I do get it to work most of the time. So we're back on the main menu. Now I think the easy part here is I just follow this line straight down, and if I put it right in front of the unit, that's right on the line, or as close as I can get to it. All right, that is right down the center of the alignment stick. Maybe I'll slide it back just so it's directly in front. All right, that's pretty good. Again, my mat's not big enough. I have the Country Club Elite hitting strip, so it's one of those things where I'm trying to, this mat here is just for the putting to catch it. It's not perfectly flat and straight, but that's pretty good right there. It's going right down the middle of the stick. Again, it's catching this line straight through here. If I really want to, again, I would probably prop it up a little bit more, but the thing is level. It's giving me a line straight down the screen. The alignment stick is going right through it. Now, what we'll do, and when I've seen people, they say they go to try to align it and it doesn't find the stick. So if we go into settings, we will go to target alignment. Again, I haven't tried it with this laser level, so who knows if this is going to mess with it or not. But basically what I was going to show you guys, so this time it's picking it up straight away. And I knew the unit was pretty close. I think I bumped it a little bit, so I kind of nudged it back. But it bounces back and forth. The trick here is if you ever get it to where you put the level or you put the alignment stick down right in front of it and it doesn't find it, what I found that works, I've had times where I've had to do it 3 or 4 times, you literally just press cancel and you just keep going into the alignment. So sometimes it just stays on this and you're saying, all right, it's not finding it. What's the deal here? So like this time, it's not showing, oh, and there it goes. So it takes a little bit, but basically all I found to get it to actually find it, it has to be, again, if you have your ball back here, where you usually hit from, it does need to be, the alignment stick needs to be directly in front of the unit, not back here. So I just followed that line, and if you ever get it to where it doesn't pick up great, just press cancel and just try to keep going back into it, and it should eventually, it changes modes slightly on the square, and it does find the alignment stick. So we'll just do it one more time for good measure. We'll press cancel. Now, target alignment. So we're back in here. It should find the stick. And like I said, I nudged it slightly, so we're slightly out of alignment. We'll see if this thing finds it again. All right. So usually what I like to do, I'm going to fine tune it for this one, but it's bouncing around. It's about a degree to the right out of alignment. Who knows if I probably slightly moved where I had the stick before, so maybe that was part of it with this laser level. But again, easy enough to just change where you want that. I wouldn't necessarily say do this every single time because it does take a little bit, but we're not too bad. It's bouncing around, but what I like to see is when I get it close enough to where it's bouncing back and forth, but between about left 0.2 and right 0.2. So it's showing that it's a little bit to the right. What we're going to do is go ahead and just, as slight as we possibly can, twist my shank tank. So that's about the same. That's closer. Again, I'm literally moving it as little as I possibly can without moving the alignment stick, but we're still straight down. That's at right 0.1, right 0.6. Why it bounces around that much with the stick not moving is kind of beyond me. It would do the same thing whether I had this laser turned on or not. But, I mean, even that's not bad. I'm kind of a little bit picky with some of this stuff if you're hitting putts and whatnot, so I nudged it a bit more. Now we're bouncing right around pretty close to 0. So left 0.1, right 0.2. I like seeing it right around here where that's pretty much dead center. I've had a tough time getting it exactly on 0, but as you can see, it's bouncing back and forth between right 0.3, left, right 0.3, left. To me, that's as close to square as I can get it, to where it's bouncing back and forth to where it can't find if it's slightly left or slightly right. So to me, this is good to go. Usually what I would do now is just go over to GS Pro, which I'm going to do, and I would line up. I would stand behind kind of where the laser level is and try to guess where the stick is compared to I can maybe even nudge it just a touch more. I mean, that's not bad. Why it's still bouncing a little bit that way, I don't know. But I mean, left, we'll nudge it just a fraction more. Didn't really do much, but literally when you're doing this, you want to move it as little as you possibly can, but that's pretty darn good right there. I mean, that's about as square as I can possibly get it, no pun intended. So we're going to go ahead and press OK. I don't know if it matters exactly when you do it, if it's on 0 or not. It's on 0 right there, so we'll press OK. Now, like I said, without this laser level, I would have to go over to GS Pro. I would stand behind here. I would try to look and follow my eyes up with the stick. But the cool thing is now with this laser level, we haven't touched that, so I can even just get rid of this. We're going to go back over, or not back over, but we're going to load up GS Pro, which will take me just a second here, but we're going to log out. We're going to exit this. I'm going to go back over here. You're seeing a black screen right now because I'm pulling up GS Pro. Hopefully we don't get a Unity error to where it crashes, but this is why I do these kind of raw, unedited, one take type of videos, so you guys see exactly what I see and what I experience. But all right, we're on 1080p Ultra over on the projector. It should be popping up now. Might as well connect the square because I'm going to be using it right after this. Technically, I don't even have to. I could just go into the GS Pro settings and change my offset. I'm really hoping that Square, with an update that should be coming sooner than later, they enable one, for us to be able to do this alignment in the Square connector itself. That would save a lot of time bouncing back and forth. But two, for people that use mainly the Square, it'd be nice if they had the offset enabled similar to how GS Pro does, to where I'm pretty far over to the right. So right now, that basically that green line towards the right of my screen, that's my center line. So if I ideally had more space, I would be hitting from right here into the dead center of the screen, which would make things a little bit easier to align. But for me, for my putting and my shots, right there is my center line. So if I want to start it right at that line, I got to go over here. And obviously, if I want to start it left, I need to go over here. But all right, it found the square. And all right, we're connected. Sometimes you get a Unity crash. I find if I give it like 3 to 5 seconds from when I scan, it finds it. I wait 3 to 5 seconds, and then I connect and wait 3 to 5 seconds. It does go. Sometimes it crashes, but it is what it is. Now, I've done a video before on GS Pro, but this seems like it's going to work a lot better for the offset, because now you can just go over into visual settings. We'll go to offset and screen offset. Isn't there one usually? Oh, well, I have to go to the range first. What am I talking about? This would be a lot easier too. So the range, Spike's video he was doing it on the range, or on a course rather, aiming it at a pin. I personally think this is always how I do it. I go over to the range and have my center line of the white line right down the middle, which you'll see in a second. I use that as a guide. So honestly, that already looks pretty darn good. So if you can see, the green line is directly down. Maybe you can see it on the projector. The green line is directly down the off-center point, or the offset point, as it is. So honestly, I don't even really need to tweak this. If anything, I mean, my screen moves a little bit. It's on a hospital current track, so it moves a little bit, and I hit shots and it moves. But if I did something like this, obviously you would start to see some of the white line a little bit more, and it would move it a touch. But right as it is right now, it's literally right down the center of the line, which I didn't even have to change. But all you would do is you would go into what I was just doing before. You go up here. Oh, now I really move the there we go, move the screen. But you just go, again, I did a video on this before, but you go up here, and same thing I was just trying to do without being on the range in the first point. But to me, having this white line down the middle of the range is the easiest way possible to get it dead center, as close as you can possibly get it. You go, same thing, settings, visual settings, offset. And what I was looking for before, which wasn't there because we weren't on the range, we weren't on the course, is launch visual offset editor. So this is easier, and then you just slide this down here. I'm right-handed, so you just slide this left and right, and you line it up. You can go back and forth. You line it up on the center line on the range. But as you saw before, my line, it didn't really move. Oh, that's strange. So usually that's dead center. That shouldn't have, I don't know why that just got rid of that. That should not have done that. A little bit buggy here, apparently. I mean, offset's still enabled. Now it's back. All right, I'm not going to even change anything. All right, now we're back. That was strange. Sometimes a little bit wonky with GS Pro and certain stuff, but there you have it. So I'm right down the middle of this line as far as I can tell. I kind of talked through this and took my time going through it, but if I really want to do this before like a match that I really cared about, or if I, again, like accidentally walked into this thing or kicked it or something knocked into it and moved it, I would just go through that process to where I would have the laser right behind it, shoot it, as what I can tell, pretty close to right down the middle of my mat, right down. I'm following this. You guys can't see it much, but there's a line right here in the tiles right in front of it, just so I can hit a flat putt. But just put it up on a box. Again, I may end up putting it up on a tripod, and the only problem is right there. I was originally thinking I would just leave this, which is why I got the rechargeable one. I originally wanted to leave this so I could have a dead straight putting line. Yeah, the green line's not the prettiest thing to look at, but the problem is when it's down there, kind of at mat level, up on a box of balls, as soon as you put your putter down, obviously, it's hitting the putter, so I lose my line. I still have it on the screen, which is nice, so I can align to that, but I do think if I raised it up a little bit on a tripod or maybe up on a table, it would be shooting down a little bit more at an angle, and it would basically go over my putter, and I would have a line here and then also have it on the screen to where if I hit a putt right to this line, that was a little bit left, and it pulled it 0.7. So you guys can mess around back and forth. I think the easiest way is to either hit short little chip shots or ideally putting, because it's not moving a ton. But let's see if I can get one closer to right at this. Too delicate of a putt. You get the point, though. That one, it rolled to the screen. It was a little bit left. This one started a little more right, and that one pushed 0.5. But generally speaking, if you're anywhere between 0.5 left or 0.5 right on the HLA, which is the bottom tile. Highly recommend if you guys use GS Pro, pull up that tile. It's great putt feedback, so you know for sure. My mat's a little bit bumpy, and as soon as it gets over here, it gets a little wonky. So sometimes you can feel it immediately if you really push it or really pull it, but sometimes you feel like you hit a pretty straight putt, and maybe just the way it comes off the mat or comes off of there, maybe it moves a little bit. But awesome putter feedback to let you know if you pushed it or pulled it. Like I was saying, usually anywhere between, you want to be as close to 0 as you can, but anywhere between 0.5 either left or right is usually a relatively straight putt for us mere mortals. But I'm going to wrap this one up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'm pretty happy with, I think I'm going to be keeping this again. I came out here the first time. I just turned it on to see if it worked, and it did. But this is the first time I ever tried to align it like this. And to me, this seems like a much more streamlined and much more precise way to do it versus me standing behind, eyeballing it. I did it one time on a live, and it took me like 10-15 minutes to get it precise. I'm standing back here trying to eyeball where the line is. I'm trying to line it up with the alignment stick here. Now with this laser level, that thing doesn't move, and you could either leave it in the same spot, you can move it every time. For me, I know that the square is as aligned as I can possibly get it. It's good on the GS Pro, so I'll end up leaving this probably for like 2 weeks until, again, I feel like maybe I hit some putts that are a little bit questionable, or if I knock into it, and then I'll redo it. But longer video because I was talking through this and explaining a lot of the stuff, but overall, not too bad. I feel like I could do that in well under 5 minutes if I just went over to square, put that up, put the alignment stick down, twisted that thing a little bit, and then as soon as you go back over to GS Pro, that thing shouldn't move a whole lot. So as long as you're relatively close to aligned in the first place, you may not even have to change the offset, and things should be pretty close. Like at the most, I was 1 degree, it seemed like, a little bit out of alignment. So maybe the past couple live streams I did and the past couple videos were a little bit out of alignment. Even that, it's not going to make that big of a difference for us mere mortals. But at the most, I was basically a degree or less out of alignment. So we dialed that back in. I am liking the way this worked out, so I think I'm going to keep it. I wasn't sure if I was going to return it or not, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any other better ideas of how to do this, if you guys have any other different processes you do to get the square to align perfectly. Like I said, it would be awesome if they enabled and they built in that alignment tool and alignment calibration in the GS Pro connector itself, because personally for me, I use 99.9% of the time I'm using GS Pro. So it would be nice if I didn't have to go back and forth between the Square app and GS Pro, and I could just do that alignment and it pops up within the connector, and then just leave it on GS Pro would be nice. But again, let me know your thoughts. If you have any better ways to do it, if I missed something, if I messed something up. To me, seems like the square is pretty good the way it is. So now I'm going to start actually swinging and hitting some shots, maybe record a video too, and maybe do a live stream a little bit later on. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, I'll link this this specific laser level. Again, it was the cheapest one. I'm usually pretty frugal and a pretty decent shopper on Amazon, so I compare different specs, different capabilities of different things. A lot of times that they call them like white label. Basically, they're like the same exact unit under just a different weird name. So some of them were $30, some of them were cheaper, some of them were $20. I actually bought another one. I just returned it earlier today to see if it was any different, and it was basically the same exact thing for like $25. So if you want this specific one, hopefully it's still the same price. I'll link it down below. And like I always leave you guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.